They have a whole music thing called Freedom Beat, the music of nonviolent resistance that's promoted by the U.S. Institute of Peace. Freedom Beat is a meeting place for artists, listeners, activists, and researchers interested in music of resistance and the role of music that music plays in nonviolent conflict. We provide resources, distribution. This is how you make it in the top 40, baby. This is why James Comey is on Twitter right now talking about Taylor Swift and why Taylor Swift had her discography bought by the fucking Carlyle Group and the George Soros Management Fund. We will start with the media and arts because that looks fun. Here's how to control media and arts. Chapter 1, Why Media and Arts? Introduction to Media and Arts for Chaos. The role of the media, human psychology and neuroscience impacts on the brain. Storytelling, narrative strategies, developing a media strategy. Okay, so here's the U.S. Institute of Peace Media and Arts course. A self-paced course that explores the impact of mainstream media, digital, social media, and the arts, live art, street art, music, dance, film, theater, on chaos. Participants learn how these various media have been engaged, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's check out this video. In violent conflicts, the first targets are often media and the arts. Really, those are the first targets? I feel like they're not. I feel like people are not shooting poets on park benches when conflict breaks out. You guys want the link? Here you go.
It is the extremists who understand.
What? The Nazis targeted the... Wasn't Hitler like a painter? This is a bad example. This is a bad example. And then ISIS, you guys created ISIS. The U.S. Institute of Peace fucking installed an ISIS guy as the head of Syria. They were behind Mohammed al-Jilani, the ISIS leader who is now the president of Syria. Another bad example, guys.
Who understand the importance and value of culture. And they go after it and ban it.
You go after it. You ban it. You understand the importance of arts and culture, which is why you ban every social media account that you can. And for like 6 years in this country, we lived under a total censorship state where any pro-Trump arts and culture was systematically banned by you assholes. You understand the importance of it, which is why you're so sensitive when you lose your fucking grip.
Fadimata said,
arts and music are the very foundation of culture. I gotta just add this. I have to do a full presentation on like the CIA and the music industry and just make it like a Brazil style, like 5-hour presentation.
Said they want to ban music, they'll have to kill us first.
And how many like of those like Bryson Gray type like Trump music performers were just like banned? They were banned by YouTube. They were kicked off of, they fucking banned Alex Jones off of Spotify. They love this. They love, this is what we did in the Berlin Wall when the CIA was paying like street artists to like graffiti stuff. That's why they love like the Banksy type stuff.
So the arts can be simply uplifting, and they can also take us through this ritual healing.
Also, this is why like every major arts center in the continental United States is like controlled by some like major CIA adjacent foundation. Like in Miami, holy shit, guys, the arts and music centers are completely controlled by like the Knight Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation. Like it's all of these like CIA adjacent private foundations that were doing all of the Cold War shit that like control and that today are like funding the Stanford Internet Observatory, like the Knight Foundation. Like they own Brickell, all the arts and music centers in Brickell. The fucking Adrian Arsh Center is like the biggest performing arts center in Miami. The Adrian Arsh Center is also the name of the Latin American influence center for the Atlantic Council. It's the Adrienne Arsh Center. She's one of the biggest supporters of the Atlantic Council, and she controls the biggest performing arts center in Miami, or Adrienne Arsh does. If you know what I'm talking about here, like, yeah. This is the Adrienne Arsh Center. Look at this. Exactly what I said. The fucking Atlantic Council, funded by millions of dollars a year from the Department of War, the Department of State, USAID, the National Endowment for Democracy, 11 different government agencies, and has 7 CIA directors on its board, the Atlantic Council. And she also controls the Adrienne Arsh Center for the Performing Arts, the biggest fucking arts and music. Look at this. Look at this. This thing is gorgeous. And it's the fucking Atlantic Council. They control the music. They need to control the music. That's why they hate people like me. They can't stand a rogue piano man. One piano player goes rogue, man, and the whole fucking ship starts rattling around in its hole. They never saw me coming.
Let's begin.
I mean, imagine, like, we're going to overthrow your government with this violinist, but it's real. This is why we fund so many of these music programs. This is like, again, I mean, I'll come back to it, but like 22, like, was it hip hop artists? This is why you have a State Department music, like a global music diplomacy program. Music diplomacy. This is why you have this shit. And then their shit gets played on the radio. Their shit gets, put in the YouTube partner program. Their shit gets super distributed on Spotify. Their shit gets featured at Art Basel in Miami, where it was like, I remember when I was at Art Basel last year, and I recognized like 4 different groups from like USAID funded groups from like Cuba and the like. Oh my gosh. All right. Course objectives. 6 to 8 hours. Holy shit. 6 to 8 hours to learn how to control the music industry. 6 to 8 hours of training to control the music industry in your country. Honey Al Said, Global Lab at Georgetown. Georgetown again. I was just haunting George. I was bird dogging Georgetown a couple nights ago. Darren Cambridge is back. Geneva Center for Security Policy. For security policy. That's who's controlling your... Again, back to the Atlantic Council and the Performing Arts in Miami. Broadcasting Networks. Rotary Peace Fellow. Georgetown. Peace and Security Specialist. Poet and Performance Artist. You know, can we keep the fucking military out of my music, please? This is like, again, I know we did so much on the military and the music industry, but it's like, this is like when the Pentagon became like the biggest sponsor to South by Southwest. Oh my God. Georgetown. Georgetown. Oh, and here you go. The Karim Wasfi, the conductor of the Iraqi National Symphony Orchestra. It's all the way down to our fucking National Symphony Orchestra. I'm never going to look at an orchestra conductor again. You know, you think you're listening to POV, you're playing chess with death, and he's about to checkmate you. This is the symphony orchestra conductor here, secretly working with the CIA through the U.S. Institute of Peace. I'm going to let this play a little while I peruse the course. Okay, introduction. All right, maybe we can get through it this way. Okay, my name is Hani Al Saeed, and I'll be your course instructor. So why media and arts for peace? Let me share a short story with you. In January 2012, I never imagined I'd be living in the United States. I was the senior producer at a leading for-profit radio and host of Good Morning Syria, the highest rated radio show in my home country of Syria. And then there was a revolution, armed conflict, no chemical weapons. That was a fucking hoax. Yeah, what was that revolution actually? What was happening in Syria at the time? Well, let's see. What was happening in 2012 in Syria? Why was there violence? Why wasn't there peace? Can we think something that was happening between 2011 and 2016? Oh, it was only the largest CIA operation of all time, a classified weapons supply and training program run by the CIA to remove Syrian President Bashar al-Assad from power. Launched in 2012. That's crazy. That's so crazy. So the CIA ran you out of your country. It supplied money, weaponry, and training to ISIS groups, ISIS and Al-Qaeda groups. Contributing to the rise and empowerment of ISIS. That's why Syria is run by a former ISIS Al-Qaeda guy now. Because we gave guns and training to thousands of ISIS and Al-Qaeda fighters because they were the ones crazy enough to risk their lives, that Maria Stefan risk tolerance, to try to kill the president of the country on behalf of the CIA. So it didn't just break out, honey. The CIA created the violence in your country. And then you blamed your own government for fighting back against ISIS and Al-Qaeda. As part of my live 3-hour daily show, I promoted social change. You mean taking down the government? I engaged with a sense of humor. I interviewed politicians, diplomats, celebrities, all to try to overthrow your government. I was reaching millions of listeners. Working with the radio deepened my understanding of the power of media when employed creatively and strategically to mobilize people and impact human psyches and social behaviors. Now you understand why she's folded under the Gene Sharp psychological operations folks at the U.S. Institute of Peace. The understanding was further expanded when I witnessed the Arab uprisings unfold. At this time, journalists, media presenters, including myself, poets, filmmakers, artists, and peaceful activists. My name is Hani Al Saeed. Let's see. An award-winning, this is how you win the awards. You just work for the CIA. She's at Georgetown Global Lab. This is how you get a sinecure at Georgetown, okay? You serve as a useful asset to the CIA to get money to Chevron and Exxon and AT&T and Sprint and Verizon, who get all the contracts under the newly installed ISIS government in Syria. And then Exxon, Chevron, AT&T, Verizon will donate to the U.S. Institute of Peace, and you can get paid to be a presenter. What a racket. She went on to found a boutique creative consultancy firm called Honey and. Yeah, I'm a creative consultant on how to overthrow governments. She founded the Media and Arts for Peace, a company that so it's a for-profit company. For profit. Media and Arts for profit. CIA training for profit. No, that doesn't sound good. Let's call it for peace. A company that gets to the heart of the conflict. She shared this experience with the next generation through a course at Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, training State Department wannabes at Georgetown. Also at the Geneva Center for Security Policy and the U.S. Institute of Peace. Role of media and social change. She holds a Master of Arts in International Affairs. All right, let's see. Navigating the course. Course agenda. Okay, let's go to course agenda. Okay, I don't want to introduce myself. Do I need to fill this out?
With radio deepened my understanding of institutions differed from one another, there was and continues to be.
This is just the CIA. It's just the CIA Arab. This is just the Arab Spring. It's just one CIA op after another. It's just one CIA op after another. Syria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt.
It was the #1 morning show for 7 consecutive years, even death. Throughout the world's history. A moment in time. The mediums we use to tell our stories and a moment in time.
Storytelling. Just like the CIA director, John Brennan. That's our story. Or James Clapper, I guess. ODNI. When he was challenged on Russiagate, he said, that's our story and we're sticking to it. We're not intelligence directors, we're storytellers. Okay, I don't want to do this self-assessment. Did they make me? Let's see.
Research show that the role of media and the arts in creating change is surely not limited to the Arab Spring.
It's just incredible. Okay, this is the same thing? Okay. What's next? Artists reach far beyond the reach of politicians. Art, especially entertainment and music, is understood by everybody. This is the same thing that I said at Art Basel 2 years ago. This is why they love this shit. Because it gets to the masses, whether they're political or not. Oh, Jon Stewart? Great.
I believe Jon Stewart is one of the best examples of a person who has taken such approaches. Not to compare me to Jon Stewart, of course. Don't forget that Syria is somewhat of a conservative society, and the state carefully monitors the media. Through the power of media
and so did you assholes. That's why you had a disinformation governance board. That's why you had CISA set up. That's why you had the Global Engagement Center of the State Department. That's why you had $100 million in censorship funding from the National Science Foundation. Because our government looked at the media and wanted to control it. That's why the Global Disinformation Index bragged to their sponsors, the fucking National Endowment for Democracy, that they got $100 million in ad revenue to pro-Trump media sources demonetized.
Arts for promoting grassroots reform, I had to find creative and strategic ways in navigating political red lines and cultural sensitivities. Entertainment is appealing. It grabs attention.
This is so funny. This is the problem, is they ran into this at home. This is what pro-Trump media ended up as. Like, this is like their Joe Rogan problem. It's like Joe Rogan's not really political. He's an entertainment guy who does a variety show, basically, of guests on Egyptian pyramids and NASA astronauts and horticultural experts and bow hunting experts and sports celebrities and politicians. And it's entertainment. It's appealing. And it speaks to people who aren't even necessarily political, but they might become a little bit political because of something that a guest says or an opinion that Joe articulates. This is why this is just like they loved internet freedom until freedom was the reason they started losing. So they had to shut down. It's a great cover-up when dealing with political red lines. This is exactly what, like, Renee DiResta and Kate Starbird and that whole clique like constantly complains about is like, they're getting people through the culture and like they're not even really political shows, but like it's like leaking through. They're laundering it. It's information laundering. That's what they'll say.
And it is a great cover-up.
And they're advocating it. They're saying, listen, it might be illegal to promote this thing that's banned by your government, so make it like an entertaining arts thing. So it like skates that line. And then if they come after you, we'll hold you up as a martyr. Might actually be a good thing for you to get arrested. Because that would create international outrage that they're cracking down on artistic expression. And remember, like, again, never lose sight of the fact that like this is what this artistic expression like looks like in practice. It looks like this, right? Like the USAID sponsored fucking Pussy Riot. Like this is what it looks like. In Russia. Artistic expression.
Big smile with the camera is always on. It's all in the protocol. They tap my phone. Golden idols, golden rifles. Take my body, anybody. I'm your trophy. Make my nose lit. Now you own. So everybody's on the same. It makes me happy. So happy. From Mexico, Papa come from Palestine, sticking all through Syria, crossing all the borderlines.
This is what they promote. It's like this shit, straight out of vagina. This is who USAID, this is who met personally with Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State. Backed by the National Endowment for Democracy and USAID. This is their artistic expression.
Band. If your vagina lands in prison, then the world is gonna listen.
If your vagina lands in prison, then the world is going to listen. This is the State Department opining on the sentencing of Pussy Riot. So the vagina did land in prison. And the U.S. State Department did listen. Victoria Nuland, as the spokesperson of the Obama State Department on the sentencing of Pussy Riot, the United States is concerned about both the verdict and disproportionate sentences handed down by a Moscow court in the case against the members of the band Pussy Riot and the negative impact of freedom of expression in Russia. But as Maria Stefan would say, maybe it's good you go to prison because then we can highlight the human rights abuses. Let me hear that line again.
Vagina lands, let your vagina start a band.
Let your vagina start a band.
If your vagina lands in prison,
If your vagina lands in prison,
then the world is gonna listen.
then the world is going to listen. So this is what they did. Pussy Riot was organizing left-wing street riots against Vladimir Putin in tandem with the Hillary Clinton State Department's attempt to overthrow the Putin government in 2011-2012. That's what happened. The State Department, the U.S. Embassy ran a fucking riot simulator in the country with backup muscle from Alexei Navalny. That's how USAID got kicked out of the country. It was Hillary Clinton orchestrating a coup inside of Russia. That's how Michael McFaul, the U.S. ambassador to Russia, got kicked out of the fucking country. Because they were organizing street riots with their little music bands like Pussy Riot. It's in the name, Riot. And then when they're organizing riots, they get in trouble. Oh, it's just artistic expression. But no, you're hosting like a live fucking like rock band on the street to get rowdy and to like attack police officers and occupy government buildings and non-violently destroy property in the capital city while you're getting funded by the U.S. State Department and the CIA through the National Endowment for Democracy, the lead singer is just casually hanging out with Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State, this is what that program is in action. Let your vagina start a riot.
An emphasis on rational analysis and problem solving subsists.
Conflict zones, yes. The interplay of media and the arts. Transforming behaviors, the role of the media. So media should cover the arts. So it's one self-licking ice cream cone.
Scholars and practitioners in the field of peace and conflict increasingly recognize media and the arts as tools for conflict transformation and peace building.
Which is why USAID spends so many billions of dollars on it.
You and I have not personally met yet. Lisa, I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are on the role of media and the arts in advancing peace building.
It just evokes an emotional response in a way that reading a newspaper maybe not, or not as much.
Evoke an emotional response. Like, what does this have to do with peace? Nothing. This just has to do with getting power. All right. I'm not sure how deep that's going to go, so I do want to, with our remaining time, I want to get into this course a little bit. Let's skim through this 312-page advanced course on civil resistance, again, which is resistance to the government, which is law-breaking. Unbelievable. I actually want to see this person's background. Oh, I love this, by the way. Music of nonviolent resistance. In Iran, about censorship, state censorship. Again, they love state censorship here when they control the government. But they sponsor music groups to complain about censorship when their assets are getting censored. So here in the song Mamnuo, it's forbidden, the Iranian band Kiosk delineates the broad array of actions that are regulated by the Iranian state. Music itself is no exception. YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook are forbidden. Mixed gender kindergartens are forbidden. Assisting earthquake victims is forbidden. The satellite dish is forbidden. Bearing a resemblance to the president is forbidden. You can say the same thing about what the fucking Joe Biden presidency did here in the U.S. YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook were forbidden to Trump supporters.